Hi, everyone. Matteo here with SEO Monolith. Thank you for everyone that is joining us. I want to thank, first and foremost, Paul Marenco, our local visibility team leader, for joining us today, giving us some updates on local visibility, local SEO, and hopefully everyone will get something out of it because we've seen some significant changes happen in the past 6 to 12 months in regards to local visibility. So we wanted to share some of this information as well as go over some basic practices of local SEO as it is such a big part of our business. And we're seeing, as always, um, the biggest return on investment in terms of digital marketing being local SEO. Paul, thanks again for joining
Oh,
us
you're welcome.
today. And can you give us again, for those that are not too familiar with local visibility, what it is and how does that help a local business?
Sure. Local visibility is basically the process of getting your business name, your business brand out in front of your local community, whether you're a service-based company or even if you have a brick and mortar store. It's a way of making sure that, people can find you uh, locally that are needing what you have to offer. So, a lot of times it's great that people have great websites. They have, they're spending money on, on SEO. But I always tell people, do your neighbors know what you do? I mean, if somebody from California can find your organization, that's great. But if you're in Washington, D.C., how in the world is that going to benefit your business? How's that going to grow your company? And certainly, you know, where are your efforts laying? Are you trying to, you know, get customers from across the state? Or are you trying to get customers within your community? Because, that's really the bread and butter of a company's business. Unless you're, a global enterprise or national enterprise, a lot of mom and pops, they rely on their community, and that's how they make their living.
Yeah, one of the biggest misconceptions that we see all the time is that people think that local visibility is strictly for the brick and mortar store. But over the years, we found out that actually ones that benefit just as much as a brick and mortar store are service based businesses. So we're talking the anything that is service based locally. So insurance agents, doctors, law firms, home renovation, HVAC,
Right.
and that's something that I think that there's a lot to unpack in local visibility, and it's not just about making sure that your business is visible on a local level, but make sure that your Google Business Profile has been optimized, getting your citations. What are some of the things that we do for our clients, Paul, to help them get more visible?
Well, a lot of things that we focus our energies on, of course, is making sure that people's Google business profile is correct. A lot of companies may have set that up, several years ago and haven't even touched it. So it's very possible their phone numbers have changed. It's very possible maybe their address has changed. It could be if that their service that they picked has been the incorrect service all this time. So what we do is we have to first go in there after we have a good conversation with their client, of course, to make sure we understand what it is that their business is, what services they provide. We go in there and optimize it, make sure that their, name, address, and phone number are correct. Because if people find you but they can't reach you, that's defeating the purpose of local visibility. So, on top of that, we also go in there and build citations, which are basically other websites pointing to your company. um, and then on top of that, of course, the main thing is making sure that we're showing interaction. There's three things when Google looks at a profile to make sure it's fitting the search, relevance, prominence, and distance. So if we can control the relevance and the prominence, of course, distance is nothing we have any access to, you know, that would help us put the client in front of their competitor, so they're actually showing up, for the search that somebody is requiring. So whether it's a service, for a, you know, uh, HVAC repair, or whether it's a plumber, whether it's an electrician, these are services that people are needing, and that's why they're looking into it. And so, you know, how much time and energy is spent in optimizing a profile is going to actually help a business show up in their searches above their competitors.
Yeah, and one of the big parts of local visibility, of course, are reviews. Reviews play such an important part, and it's something that oftentimes business owners will overlook, and not to blame the owners. Owners have
Right.
their business to run, but optimizing their business profile as well as making sure that not only do they are proactive in asking reviews, but making sure also that they comment once they do receive a review, whether it's a positive or negative review. Um, what is the importance as a business owner in responding to a review?
Well, it's a couple of things. I mean, 91% of consumers trust online reviews, of course, as much as they do personal reviews. So when an owner is interactive, Google loves to see that because it shows the algorithm for Google that the actual business is still active, it's thriving. There's interaction between a client or a review and a business owner. Like you said, it's very important not to ignore the bad reviews, because that is first of all, it's an opportunity for a business owner to find out what happened, what transpired. Or it's also, a lot of times you have competitors that are setting up these fake accounts, leaving these fake reviews. And so what we've had to go do for a lot of our clients is, when we come across those, is we actually take that information, we present it to Google. We show them that this is not even a valid client. They've had no interaction. They've had no business dealings with this business owner. And we've had success in removing those negative reviews that are, unfortunately inaccurate. But, the importance is that it shows also it shows potential clients that, this owner is interactive. He addresses issues, or he thanks people for their compliments. He's trying to resolve a matter that maybe left a client unsatisfied. And I think, we all realize that there's going to be some times where you have people, there's just not much you can, there's people you can never please all the time. But going in there and showing that you're willing to make an effort or admit a mistake, that goes a long way with a lot of, potential clients. Because, you know, I would rather have a opportunity to do business with somebody that's, admitted fault, or said, hey, we made a mistake, we're sorry, how can we fix it? Than just somebody that is, aggressive or defensive in nature and not taking the steps to try to rectify the situation.
Yeah, I think it has a dual effect. It solidifies um, brand reputation, whether again it's a positive or negative review, and then also it has been shown that Google does take that into account. That when an account is active in responding to a review, we know that Google takes that into consideration
Right. It's
as
building
well.
prominence. It's
Right.
building actual, a footprint of action and interaction.
Now, related to that, you mentioned people that leave um, unsubstantiated reviews, and we report those. Another thing that we're actually very proactive in our clients' local visibility is when companies will put their company name and then a city name next to their company name in order to gain a higher ranking. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and how that works?
Sure, that's basically it's known in the industry as keyword stuffing. So basically, what you have is a business, and we're just going to pick a XYZ plumber, and they do business in, let's say, for example, Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Hmm.
So they'll actually put as their business name XYZ Plumbing, Fort Lauderdale,
Hmm.
Florida. And so what that does is that it kind of gives them the advantage through the algorithm. When somebody types in, I need a plumber in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, it's going to, pull all that information, and it's probably going to give them a more, uh, advantageous ranking, because that keyword is the Fort Lauderdale, Florida is in their title there, is in their business name. So that's actually against Google policy. And there are a lot of businesses that are given an opportunity. Once we identify those, because one of the things we do is we find out when we have a client, we actually go ahead and do a competitor analysis to see who are the main competitors, how are they ranking, are they using keywords, which is, like I said, against Google's policy. And if we catch them, we report them. And a lot of times, Google will give them an opportunity to make a change within a certain time frame, or will bring down that listing completely.
Yeah,
So,
we see that a lot with our customers. Um, and we're not saying that companies do that intentionally, but it certainly
right.
it's something that can negatively impact our clients' rankings. So we're very proactive, and we keep checking our clients' listings and then their competitors to make sure that that does not occur. And if it does, those accounts are flagged and reported to Google. Which also
Yeah.
go ahead, Paul. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I think, there are those, when the Google My Business came online, a lot of people just kind of figured, it was done in somewhat of an innocent fashion.
Right.
But as business owners that were, noticing the effectiveness of this, it became more and more popular as a way of trying to get a leg up against your competition. So, I think you're right about the fact that there was definitely, just a kind of an innocent,
Hmm.
occurrence. But of course, it's everybody wants to be, on page one or in the three pack of the or Google Business Profile rankings, because nobody's going to go into page three to look for services.
Right.
So they're going to use every advantageous, every way of leveraging their results to get in front of their competition. So,
And related to that, again, this is not a nefarious activity, but oftentimes there will be businesses that have gone out of business,
sure.
or Google business profiles that are unclaimed, which we've seen now. In those instances, there have been nefarious activities where a competitor will claim your company's business profile. This negatively impacts your brand visibility. And this is something that we constantly are educating our clients or potential clients, that if you have a business and a uh, business profile is available to claim it, this is something that only takes a little bit of time. There's no cost associated. And we've seen instances where unclaimed business profiles get claimed by other companies. It's not very common, but it does happen, correct, Paul?
Yeah, it does happen. It can certainly happen. And it's, it can be, it's important to protect all of your brand awareness. And that includes your, Google Business Profile, your the actual, claiming of it. Because if a competitor were to claim it, then it really becomes quite difficult to try to get, that, transferred. And it's a headache for business owners. And, it is just like anything else. If you have, a logo, you may want to trademark that. Or if you have some sort of a website, you're always going to want to make sure that it's, SSL encrypted. So, your Google Business Profile really should also be something that you take into account as a brand awareness that you want to protect.
Definitely, definitely. There's also been discussed this on our last meeting last week uh, with some of the new updates on Google Business Profile and local visibility that I'd like to share now with everyone. There's been some new updates, and I'm going to share my screen. I think there's some pretty interesting updates that some people may not be aware of. Recently, Google has added a chat with a live agent
Hmm.
section. Let me share screen here a second, and I can show what that looks like. Second here, and we'll actually dive right in. And so this is actually what uh, this looks like. I don't know if you're able to see it. And it's a chat with a live agent feature.
Right, and that
Um,
was actually available. The first release was actually only available on a cell phone, where you could only actually access
right,
that. But the newest, updates that Google just rolled out allows you to even chat from a desktop.
right,
So that kind of has added that flexibility if somebody's at work and
right.
has to have, they're in front of their desktop and needs some sort of service. They don't have to pull out their cell phone. They can go right to the actual web page or the Google Business Profile page and pull that up.
Yep.
So,
They've also added the request a quote, which I'm not seeing a lot of people use it. This rolled out fairly recent, and it's a great feature to have, especially if you're able to provide quotes. We've seen that now being used a lot by the home remodeling, as well as actually some insurance agents I've seen. But
mhm.
it's a good feature to add. It allows you to connect with the client in the shortest amount of time without having to uh, go back and forth with calls. The request a quote is a great feature. And if you think your business could benefit from it, I would definitely recommend adding it because it's a great feature to have. And we're seeing more and more of these rollouts from Google. Again, solidifying that local
Right.
visibility, local SEO is so important for businesses and not to be taken for granted. And a lot of people focus perhaps a little bit too much on websites. But
Right.
if you're a local business, local visibility should be your priority. They've also added a very interesting. There have been some new verticals and categories that have been added um, in in uh, in that. And I'm gonna go back and actually show you the request to quote. This is the request to quote I was discussing about earlier, and they've also added new features when it comes to healthcare verticals.
Hmm.
So it's pretty interesting that they're adding in your local visibility categories some more of specified um, categories to make sure that your business description is correct as opposed to something generic as um, um, healthcare or whatever. So now we've actually added more specialists, if you want to call categories. And if you're in that sector, I would definitely recommend um, looking into that. Behind us, we actually have a little bit of a cheat sheet that we actually refer to, and we offer this to our clients. And we tend to focus on a lot of interesting things. I'm gonna zoom on on myself a second, so it's a little bit easier to see. Uh, so here are some points that are I think are very crucial in understanding the stats. Paul mentioned before the 91% of consumers trust online reviews as much as personal recommendations. 68% of consumers left a local business review when asked. That's a very powerful number. 74% of consumers say positive reviews make them trust a local business more. And I'll get out of the way. 76% of people search for something nearby on their smartphone, visit a related business within a day. That's a fantastic stat. It goes right to the point. The importance of local visibility, especially when someone is out and about or on their phone. That takes into account the fact that when someone is looking for something, they have the intent and they actually visit that type of business within a day. So these are important numbers. Along with it, definitely the fact of that people so much trust consumers trust online reviews as much as your brother, sister,
Yeah.
a family member, just as much. So there is great power in reviews, and this is something that we tend to stress a lot with our clients, that it's all about reviews. Um, our review system is actually very interesting. It's part of our automated service. So whenever one of our customers has any kind of touch point with their client, a review link is sent. And a lot of people think that reviews are just for post-purchase, but they're not.
No,
Paul, can you give us some
exactly.
examples of how business owners can ask for reviews, not just after the client has bought something?
Sure. Well, a lot of times, you're right. I mean, people just think it's about a post purchase or they've paid for a service. But there's a lot of times where, let's say, for example, that a client, was thinking about a certain product, and it turns out that, that's really not the product they need or the service they need, and they get pointed in a direction that actually has a better fit for their need. It's all about service, not necessarily sales. So, it's important if you've actually added value to somebody who is in need of something. You could ask them just, "Hey, I know we didn't do business, and hopefully I gave you the information that you needed. If you don't mind, would you mind just going to our review page or Google our business profile and actually leave us a review as to how this interaction went today?" Or a lot of people will actually just say that, they really appreciated the way somebody was, upfront and honest with them and took care of them. And, they'll go on there and say, "Hey, this individual heard my situation. They came to the conclusion they're not the ones that can necessarily meet my needs. They got me in touch with a person that actually is an expert in this field or this service." And, that goes a long way. And I think sometimes we focus so much on sales that we forget about really just adding value to a certain circumstance or situation. So,
Yeah, especially if
that's
you're dealing with a product that has a very long purchase journey. So it's not an impulsive buy. So it could be you're purchasing, or you're shopping for a new car, or you're talking with a realtor, and you're still, the process is not something that these decisions are made overnight,
right,
and they tend to be decisions that heavily rely on research and getting information from experts. And
right,
again, there's no shame in asking for a review, if you feel confident that you have provided uh, a solid advice to the client, to the potential client, helping them in their journey in purchasing that product. And
right,
so,
exactly,
so there's definitely, we recommend our clients. Some of our clients are um, car dealerships and doctors, and so it's not just uh, you purchase, now leave me a review, or you've been to my restaurant, leave me a review. It can certainly be just that portion of, "Hey, I'm here, I offered you advice. If you found it useful, I would really appreciate a review." There are a
right,
couple of ways to ask for a review. Our system allows us to, should say, allow our customers and our clients to make the review process as automated as possible. Sometimes we get feedback from clients saying that, I kind of feel a little bit ashamed about asking a review, or I never really know when to ask for a review, and I don't want to stir the waters. So our system actually sends out reviews in a couple of different ways. One is done automatically, uh, post purchase, right? Whether it's sent by an invoice after an invoice is sent, it could be sent by email. It can be sent with our system through an SMS, right? It can also be sent. We have our new direct mail initiatives that, post purchase again, we can send out postcards to those individuals asking for a review, and most importantly, make sure that you have a QR code on your business cards and all your media, your email signature, anywhere you have a touch point with a customer. We have it on all our business cards. Our clients, most of them have it on their business card. And be proactive. And furthermore, there certainly is a viable method of also sending and asking for reviews from past customers, right? So it's not just about, granted, the sooner you're able to send them a review, the better it is. But again, there's nothing wrong with sending a review request from a customer of 6, 7, 8, even a year, months ago, or even a year.
Yeah.
There's certainly nothing wrong with that, and it may actually win you back a customer as well. So it could be an incentive for them to come back to the table. One last thing that I want to cover for our viewers, Paul, is how we monitor, and I think a lot of people think that once a Google business profile is optimized, I can just step away from it and let it do its thing. But there certainly is a lot of maintenance in maintaining, in reaching high ranking and
Sure.
maintaining that. In all transparency, we've seen this happen actually with a few of our clients, where they'll get on board. We start giving them, providing them high ranking in a short period of time, and their belief is that, well, okay, now I reached a great position, I don't really need any local visibility services anymore. What happens in that instance?
Well, a lot of times what'll happen, like I said, the Google algorithm is always changing. So, it'd be nice if you could just get it to the point where it's kind of like a, self-service machine, and it's, set it and forget it. But that's not the case. If you're not actually responding now, and there are, certain there's certain things that are not going to help your rankings, like, putting a post, responding to reviews. None of that necessarily is going to get you a better ranking, but what it does do, it does actually show, clients, potential clients and customers, the, interaction that a business has with its, with its customers. Like I said, it does build prominence in the sense of, showing Google that it is actually active. Sometimes, for example, a business, maybe seasonal, they maybe, do certain actual, like, services in the summer and then different services in the winter. So, what happens is, if you're not changing your service selection based upon your activities, that's going to have a negative impact on your rankings. The other thing to remember, of course, is, it is a living and breathing algorithm. So Google is very good about making sure that the small mom and pops can compete with the companies that are, multi-million dollar, organizations. And so in order to stay competitive, to stay relevant, it's important that, tweaks are done, pretty much weekly to ensure that you're, still able to be competitive and relative in the industry that you're an expert in.
Especially with citations. It's citations. A lot of these directories will do weekly and monthly verifications, and
Right.
we've seen the situations where if a citation is not kept up to date, that citation will disappear and of course hurt the ranking. So it's a constant
Sure.
maintenance, not only for our client itself, but to also keep looking at the competitive market. Why is this new player in town rising up in keywords? Why they're starting to get better ranking? What are they doing that is working for them? And local visibility is not an initiative where you can just set it and forget it. Just like a
Right.
lot of digital marketing initiatives, and there is a relationship between local SEO and national SEO. There is a weighted factor because there is, again, nobody really knows Google's secret sauce in
No,
their
and it's
algorithm, how much
yeah,
what is weighted. But one of the things that they do look at is also a site's domain authority. That has a little bit more weight. We know that it has more weight on a national SEO. But at the end of the day, what Google really we know this for a fact that Google really cares about most is relevancy. They
of
want to be
course.
able to provide the user, meaning the person that is searching, the most relevant content based on that search term. So it is not just about citations. It's not just about your Google business profile. It's about also maintaining a. You don't have to have a $80,000 website, but you should have a website that is optimized because there's definitely a little bit of a relationship there. But
Right.
and if I'm not mistaken, also Google does offer a mini website with their
They
Google
do.
Business
They
Profile, right?
do. And if it's, it may be just the perfect fit for a certain business owner that really doesn't need to go out and spend $5,000 to develop a website. And Google's very brilliant about this. And I'll tell you what they're doing because they keep adding all these features. The main notion of Google's initiative is to keep a user on Google. They sell advertising there. That's how they make their money. So really, if they can keep a individual on the Google page, whether it's Google Business Profile or just a search page, they don't really want a user to jump off of their system to go to somebody's website. So, a lot of these mom and pops, they can build an effective website right on their Google Business Profile, and it's free. It doesn't cost them anything. And
Right.
it can, it doesn't have, and they don't necessarily need all these bells and whistles and everything else. I mean, all they really want to do is make sure that, they're visible, they're reachable, and they can, certainly advertise their brand, whether it's a service base or brick and mortar. But,
And on top of that, I mean, nowadays, even creating a small website, the costs are fairly low. So even if somebody says, I'm on a very tight budget,
right,
you can do a website. Heck, a lot of days these days, you if the person does have the time, you can also do a website yourself. It's fairly easy these days. But of course, we are here to help in any kind of website development
exactly,
as well. But the
exactly.
option is there. I want to just leave off with the fact that local visibility, I mentioned this in the beginning of the live stream, that local visibility is without a question the best ROI of, in my opinion, in any kind of marketing initiative. We are seeing email campaigns and email marketing, especially on a cold emails, very low open rates. We're
Right.
seeing SMS working, but with the new FCC regulations, that is starting to diminish as well. And at the end of the day, we see the biggest gain in the shortest amount of time for our clients, local visibility. We start moving the
Sure.
needle for our clients, usually sometimes even as soon as 4 to 5 weeks, whereas
Yeah,
national
it's
SEO can take a
right.
long, long time.
Right. And that's one of the things I don't think, we really kind of, remember people are searching for a service, they're searching for a product, they're searching for a need. And it's important to remember that, this is really a way of getting in front of that individual who's ready to make a commitment. And one of the things I will say about Google is they have some great analytical data that people can actually look at, understand how many phone calls they received, understand how many website visits they had, understand just how many, people asked for directions or called them directly from Google My Business or Google Business Profile.
Mhm.
So, there's a very, very few, um, systems out there that, allow you to search somebody, look at the reviews, look at the actual, information, pictures, and, ask for directions or call them directly from just a one touch point.
Yeah, it's almost like its own little world when it comes to local visibility.
Yeah.
That there's so much to unpack, and 30 minutes just doesn't do it any
No,
justice.
it doesn't. It's just,
So
we could
we
talk
definitely,
hours about this.
yeah, because there is a lot of moving parts to it, and it's something that oftentimes it's just overlooked in the grand scheme of things. But there's so much power, and we've made it such a big part of our business, and we've grown not just from domestic
Right.
accounts. Now we're doing international accounts because it is certainly we get emails and calls all the time. That we're getting more phone calls, and we're able to
That's
provide them
exactly it.
reports, like you said, how many times people have called from the Google Business Profile, if they ask directions. So Google provides us, and in return, we provide our customers these analytics that are undisputable, and those lead to actionable results with, like
Yep.
I mentioned, with more phone calls, more walk-ins, and it's just one part of digital marketing, but it's such a big part, and it's a part that's too often overlooked. Um,
That's exactly it. It's overlooked because, like you said, we talked about very much in the beginning of the conversation. People just, I got a new business. Let me set this up. And
yep.
then, if maybe the client has moved, the phone number's changed, it's not under forefront of their mind to go back to their Google
No.
Business Profile and update that. They've got more
No.
more
Exactly.
important things to do with running their business.
Exactly. Or they think, oh, I got to start my email campaigns, or I got to start my PPC campaigns, or I got to work on my website. I got to, and
Yeah,
yeah, the local visibility aspect, the local SEO, probably is one of those initiatives that gives you the fastest
exactly.
gratification in the least amount of time. So again, there's a lot to unpack. We
Yep.
definitely encourage our viewers to drop us a line. You can email us at SEO Monolith at gmail.com. You can visit us on our website, SEOmonolith.com, and go in and hop on a call with us. And we can actually show you case studies of how we've helped businesses in various industries uh, grow, but grow with the intent of scaling. So it's not just about being more visible, but it's actually converting that visibility
Right.
into paying customers. So I definitely urge everyone to schedule a call with us. You can go to, again, our website, seomonolith.com, click on free consultation, and book a call. Either myself, Paul, or one of our other local visibility specialists will get on the call with you, go over what we do, how we do things a little bit different than other companies because we focus so much on local visibility. And again, go over some case studies and put together a roadmap. And you may even come away with some good takeaways, even if you decide not to go with us. But we always like to provide service and insightful information as we're doing today. Hopefully, everyone has gotten some value out of this. This is the first of many series of Q&A and live streams that we have coming up for the month of August. And so stay tuned. We'll have some pretty amazing guests in their own industry and how their businesses can help your company grow. So stay tuned for that. Paul, thank you so much for your time today.
Oh, my
We
pleasure. I enjoyed it.
greatly appreciate it. And stay tuned for more live streams coming up soon. Thanks so much.
Thank you.